My name is Rachel Bartlett. I am a huge fan of the HBO miniseries Band of Brothers. Last year I traveled to New Orleans, Louisiana for the 20th anniversary symposium at the National WWII Museum, and the symposium was to commemorate both the legacy of the show and the men of Easy Company who served in the 506 PIR 101st Airborne Division, and I took my phone with me everywhere I went to record a set of video diaries, and this is what I captured whilst I was there. Day number 3, it was after the symposium, so it was more or less like an exploration day. I had a great time yesterday, and everyone was so fantastic. I'm actually going to the World War II Museum again today because I did not get a chance to see the exhibits. Yes, I know. It was a lot of fun, and thankfully this little wristband that I have on here, it gives you access to the museum today as well, not just yesterday. But it was such a great experience, and I would love to come back again. And now, on a new quest to try and find breakfast because I am so hungry. So my dad and we got up early because I wanted to say goodbye to Mark Lawrence and or get a picture with him, but unfortunately that didn't work because they had to get on the plane and go back home, and they had to leave like so soon, and I was so sad about that. But yeah, so my dad and we actually ended up exploring New Orleans all day. We didn't really use the pool that much when we were down there. It was more or less like a get up and walk around. So we had breakfast at the Ruby Slipper Cafe, which has amazing breakfast food. And I had the stuffed French toast, and it was the most incredible thing I've ever had. I don't remember what they stuffed it with, but oh my god, it was so good. So we went back to the National WWII Museum. It looked so different the next day. Like, the streets were empty. The stage that was in the Boeing Center was taken down, so it was like a regular room again. But it was really cool. They had one section, they actually had this area. You get a dog tag when you first arrive, and then you get on this train, and then you scan it at a computer, and you're basically following a person's story around the museum. So either it's in the Pacific Theater or it's the Road to Berlin exhibit. So I had James Gavin, who was part of the 82nd Airborne Division, youngest commander at the time. And then there was 5 different stations, so they were artifacts, which I thought was really cool. There was a lot of Band of Brothers stuff within the National WWII Museum. When you first come in, there was a C-47 Skytrain which carried the paratroopers across the English Channel to Normandy so they could jump behind enemy lines like in the very early morning hours. So the reason why that was so important is because there was this 4-gun battery that was firing down onto Utah Beach, and so Easy Company's objective on D-Day was to take out those 4 guns. If those 4 guns were not taken out, there would have been way more casualties, especially like when the Navy was coming up, and they would have been... It wouldn't have been good. So with Easy Company taking out that 4-gun battery at Brecourt Manor, which is also Richard Winters' first taste of combat at the age of 26, they paved the way for more troops to come up with less casualties. And so there was a section, like in the D-Day portion, where there was a picture of Richard Winters, and you could press a button, and you could hear him talking about, like, what his thought process was, and what he was doing to lead up to it. There was also a little section about the Battle of the Bulge. It was a small room, but towards the back there was a section about Operation Market Garden, which was a failed operation to end the war by Christmas, and that did not happen due to a whole number of factors like poor communication, lots of things. It's such a fascinating place. And there was this World War II movie in there called Beyond All Boundaries, and it's narrated by Tom Hanks. So it was a 4D experience where you're brought into this huge theater, and so you're sitting in your seats, and the chairs would move like if you were in a tank, and then there would be like snow falling, or they had a tower like rise up from the ground, and then they had like the planes where they dropped something from the ceiling. It was a really cool experience. And then I think another Man of Easy Company was mentioned in there. I think it was Smokey Gordon. I don't remember if it was him, but one of the Men of Easy Company was mentioned during the Bastogne portion of that film, which was actually pretty cool. Yeah, no, it's a really cool place. Like, if you get the chance to visit the National World War II Museum, there's so much there. And it was also where a lot of the Easy Company reunions were held, because the National World War II Museum, one of its founders was Stephen Ambrose, who's the author of Band of Brothers. And Bill Garnier, he used to get everybody to come to the reunions as often as he could. He tried to get Captain Sobel to come multiple times to show that there was no hard feelings, because Captain Sobel, he wasn't very well liked amongst the Men of Easy Company, but he really was the one that prepared them and shaped them into what they were so that they were more capable. And I still learn a lot. So we just came from the, hold up the bag, National World War II Museum again. And I finally got to see the exhibits because I couldn't see them yesterday due to the symposium, but there was a lot of really cool stuff in there. There was some things about Easy Company. There was like a couple things about Major Richard Winters and the night drop into Normandy and all that fun stuff. Would I go again? Absolutely. But now I think we're heading back to the hotel to drop off some stuff, maybe charge up our phones because mine is running low on battery. But maybe find the French Quarter as well. It's been both eventful and successful. I've taken so many pictures and videos. I hope my phone storage does not fill up again. So my dad and I, we were walking around, and so we went to Bourbon Street, which is the big party street in New Orleans, and it was crazy because there was so much going on, and we wanted to find something to eat, so we ended up going to the Hard Rock Cafe. It was cool because they had all this rock and roll memorabilia from these legends in rock and roll history. And one of the jackets they had up there was Stevie Ray Vaughan's jacket, and my dad absolutely loves him. So he wanted me to take a picture. And that was also where I first tried jambalaya as well, and it was really good. And there was a little gift shop in the back too. I've gone to 2 Hard Rock cafes. The first one I went to was in New York, and then the second one was in New Orleans. At dinner, I was talking about the Men of Easy Company, specifically Doc Rowe, to my dad, and saying about how during the Battle of the Bulge, he was able to save a man's life by packing snow and mud back into the guy's head, and was able to buy him enough time to help him to help, pretty much. And of course talking about the other Men of Easy Company as well, but mostly it was Doc Rowe because he was from Louisiana. And yeah, no, it was very special being in Doc Rowe's home. We're doing some more exploring. This is Jackson Square. It's so pretty over here. It's so pretty. I don't know.
Still acknowledge everybody.
This is so pretty. Basically just walking around. Yeah, it looks like a temple or something. I don't know. It's very pretty, and it's one of the quieter parts. Oh, there's a museum over there too.
Oh, it is Sunday.
True, yeah. Louisiana State Museum. I don't know. Oh, it's nice in the shade though, but that's really pretty. I think it's a church, but I have no idea. It's very relaxing. I like it. And then we continued walking throughout the day because I really wanted some beignets, and I was like, I'm not leaving New Orleans without trying one. The beignets were delicious. It's basically like fried dough. So the place we got it at was called Café du Monde, which is known for its really incredible beignets. Yeah, no, that was cool. And then there was a piano player. Oh, look at this. It's so pretty. Finally, live music.
And it's been the old
It's really nice. Yeah. It was a very fun, filled third day.